right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
All right, thanks, guys, and thanks for tuning in to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm Rich Walsh. I'll be joined by Andrew Fillipponi. In a matter of moments, over at the 93.7 The Fan Cam. There he is with his cool old-school Pirates hat. How you doing, Andrew? Thanks for joining me here tonight.
Has there ever been a more appropriate title for a sports call? The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. You just got back from Ireland. You did not get jumped, which is great to hear that you came back in one piece. You saw that amazing win for the Steelers that has them now, Richie. They are in a great spot with the Lamar Jackson injury, the Ravens defense struggling the way that it is. The Bengals are done with Jake Browning at quarterback instead of Joe Burrow, and the Browns is the Browns, as Juju once said. I mean, the Steelers have gone from afterthought in the AFC North to AFC North frontrunner a quarter of the way through the season.
You know, hopefully they don't screw it up against the Browns. They usually drop one of those games that they're not supposed to, but they're going to have Dylan Gabriel, a rookie quarterback, too. So it's not going to be Joe Flacco against the Steelers. So you're facing Gabriel and Browning. I mean, that looks to be the Steelers' advantage there.
Oh, no doubt. Now, Gabriel has not been confirmed as the starter for this Sunday in London, but it sounds from various reports that signs are pointing in that direction. And Mike Tomlin's got a very good record against rookie quarterbacks. Most teams do. His record is excellent. And then you've got Browning on a short week. They can't run the ball. They can't pass protect. They can't block. They can't stop people. I mean, that Monday night game last night against Denver was almost unwatchable because of the way that game went. It was so heavily slated towards the Broncos. So you've basically taken both Ohio teams out of the mix, and the Steelers should have a substantial lead on the Ravens by the time Lamar Jackson comes back, because he's going to miss Sunday's game against Houston. Houston's only got one win, Richie, but they've got the best scoring defense in the NFL through 4 games. They've shut down offenses like the Rams, a very good offense. And the next week, they play the Rams and Matthew Stafford and Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua and Sean McVay and everything they can do offensively. So it's not out of the question that we see the Steelers start 5-1 and the Ravens begin 1-5. I mean, that could honestly happen where 6 games in, the Steelers have a 4-game lead on the Ravens in the AFC North.
Well, and then the Ravens would have the Bears after that, and I mean, you can't count that as a win either. So potentially the Ravens could go 1-3 without, or 1-2 without Lamar Jackson, which would obviously help the Steelers. All right. Speaking of the Steelers, since you brought it up, hey, it was a great time in Ireland, you know, and so many fans showed up for this game. It was amazing. Everywhere I walked, I felt like it was in Pittsburgh. So many people coming up to me, talking to me, and you know, I felt like more recognized there than here. It was amazing how many people went over there for this game. You know, I would not be surprised if the Steelers make this trip in the very near future again, just because of the NFL seeing how much of a success it was.
Well, I think the next time the Steelers play a game outside of the United States, they're going to want that game to get played in Mexico.
I don't know.
They love them.
Don't count out Germany. Don't count out Germany.
Okay. Well, that's interesting because you're talking to people that I clearly am not talking to. But I just have always felt like they've got a massive fan base in Mexico, and they want to build that and grow that and play a game there. Now, the Ireland thing was just so serendipitous. You know, I give them credit for the way they went there and dominated the game for most of the game. They almost made some decisions at the end of the game that I didn't understand. Danny Smith came out today and said that they asked Waitman to punt the ball through the end zone on purpose, Richie.
Which I didn't understand.
That makes no sense
Why?
to me. No.
Why?
No. The reason why you try to get the delay a game penalty to get the extra 5 yards is because you want Waitman to coffin corner the ball, okay? And if he's so bad at that you think he's going to kick it out of bounds before the 20-yard line, well, then you shouldn't have kept him as your punter. But think about this, Richie. If you try the corner kick out of bounds, the worst case scenario should be touchback. The best case scenario is he kicks it out of bounds somewhere inside the 20-yard line. I don't understand why they didn't do that. and to just trust your defense flat out, which worked. It worked, so I can't kill Mike Tomlin too much, but I just thought there were some things there at the end of the game that were a little sketchy. Why not go for it on 4th down? And then when you bring your punter out, why is he just trying to boom the ball through the end zone?
You know, I liked that they went for it on 4th down at the goal line. I don't like the play call. You got probably the two tallest guys in the whole country of Ireland on your team with Washington and Metcalf. I like the call. I didn't like the play call. I like doing it. I didn't like the play call.
Well, I have to be honest with you. I watched that play happen, and my biggest gripe was the indecision. I didn't like, okay, here comes the special teams unit. No, go back. All right, now everything's kind of discombobulated and disjointed. I think before they went for it on 3rd down, there should have been clear communication from Arthur Smith and Mike Tomlin. Hey, if you don't get it, we're going for it on 4th down. There wasn't. So then everything got rushed. I liked the way Kenneth Gainwell ran the ball behind their line. So I didn't really have an issue with that. You know, even though they weren't a yard out, they were a few yards out. He ran the ball so effectively. I didn't mind that play call. I just didn't like how long it took for them to arrive at their decision to go for it. And at that point, it almost seemed like it was a give-up play, like it was a very conservative play. No, know before you call your play on 3rd down what you want to do on 4th down. Are we going to go for it? Is it 2 downs? Or are we going to kick a field goal if we don't get it?
You know, I totally agree, and we'll talk more about that game coming up. But we have to take a break right now. 412-575-2600 is the number. Back in a couple of minutes. All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night. And it's from Kabali. Pirates firing their pitching coaches like me hiring a weight gain specialist. That was definitely, that wins tweet of the night, I think, everywhere. Kabali's now a comedian ever since he joined the Pat McAfee show. I know you guys have him on your show all the time. So he's a good guy. He does a great job. I enjoy Mark Kabali's tweets. And this one is a really good one, that's for sure.
Well, look, I think there's got to be something to this decision to get rid of Marine. I mean, they had a top 10 pitching staff in baseball by ERA, and they've got young guys coming through the pipeline to make it better. And they've got a lot of success stories as far as starting pitchers and relief pitchers. That's probably one of the biggest reasons why, against all odds, Ben Cherington is back as GM. Richie, my theory here, and that's all it is, it's just a theory. My theory is that Paul Skeens is not an Oscar Marine fan. I mean, and that's, to me, all it would take. If Paul Skeens is like, look, I don't think this guy's really a great pitching coach, we can do better. He's got an expiring contract. I could see the Pirates moving on because the results were good. I mean, they were successful as a pitching staff. So why would you get rid of your pitching coach then? That's the only thing that makes sense for me, Richie.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%.
The guy who is the most important person in the entire organization is like, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him.
I agree with you 100%. They needed to clean house and they didn't. And just the spin and the rhetoric they used yesterday, it's irritating. It's frustrating. I don't believe a word that comes out of any one of their mouths. I don't believe what's going to happen. They said they want to compete, but are they going to? Everyone wants to compete. I want $5 million. It doesn't mean I'm going to get it. You want to win and you want to make the playoffs. They're not going to do what they need to do to get to the postseason. They went from 76 to 71 wins. I don't even know what the early over-under is. You might know for next year, but I can't see them winning more than 75 to 80 games. They'd have to add two dominant hitters to this lineup to sniff 80-some wins.
They're already talking a big game about how aggressive they're going to be in
Nobody
free
wants to
agency
come
and
here,
the trade
Pony.
market.
Nobody wants to come here. Would you?
Well, if you trade for somebody, they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Okay, unless this isn't like hockey where you've got no movement clauses and things like that. So, I mean, we had both Travis Williams and Ben Cherington. Really, I think talk about that being the way that they get these hitters in here more than the free agent market. It sounds like everybody I talk to, the payroll is going to go up. But how much is it going to go up? I mean, if it goes up by $5 million or $10 million, I don't think that's going to be enough to bridge this gap here. Okay, they won 71 games. 3 teams in the division made the playoffs. The playoffs this year, all it took was 83 wins. That's normally not how it works. You probably, to be safe, Richie, have to win 87 to 88 games. That means you've got to improve by 16 or 17 games to make the playoffs. The 2013 Pirates, for example, when they finally broke through, they went from 79 wins to 94 wins. That was a 15-win difference. I don't see next year's team doing better than that. They were the worst hitting team in baseball this season. That's not an opinion. Those are facts. If you go by OPS plus, they only had one above-average hitter, and that was Spencer Horwitz on the entire team. How are they going to, in one offseason, without spending tons of money or making blockbuster trades, how are they going to turn themselves into a good hitting team overnight? I don't see it, man. I do not see it.
Yeah, look, I'm just tired of the rhetoric. I'm tired of the spin. I'm tired of it. I mean, if you're not going to compete, just come out and say, you know, we're only going to spend this. This is what we're going to do. They have to try to sell tickets. I get it, but I'm just not buying it anymore. I mean, basically, if you go to a restaurant, you know, 15 times in a row and it's bad, why are you going to go back there for the 16th time? Why would you do it? It's stupid. So there's nobody over there that gives me any reason to think that they're going to be a winning franchise in the very near future unless they sell the team or get rid of everyone in the front office. I like the Don Kelly hiring. I like that. But, you know, I mean, he can only manage what you give him.
Well, that's the other thing. I mean, do I think Donnie did a good job after taking over for Derek Shelton and winning with the players he had? Yes. All right, but he also was 6 games under 500. If you project that out over 162 games, he would have managed them to a 77-85 record. Richie, if they go 77-85 next year, you'd like to think everybody gets fired. Based on what they said yesterday, that's not going to be good enough. They keep moving the goalposts here. You know, they won 5 fewer games this year, but I got to hear Travis Williams tell me about all the great things they did. What great things? You were a last-place team again. He said I didn't want to fire Ben Cherington because I didn't want to lose the momentum from this year.
Momentum? I know. That was the one thing I noticed in that interview too. Momentum. My follow-up question would have been, what momentum? What momentum do you have?
Well, and he brought up things that, again, are not facts. Like, okay, they have a high-ranked farm system. That's subjective. They have the #1 prospect in baseball. Connor Griffin's got great stats, so that is objective. But how does that translate to the major leagues, and when does he get called up? He also said, we have a great young core of hitters. No, you don't. You don't have a young core at all. O'Neal Cruz took a massive step back this year. Nick Gonzalez is an okay player. Nothing more, nothing less. Henry Davis hit 167. 167. They don't have a young core of good hitters at all. They've got a horrible core of position players, Richie.
All right, we got to go to our #1 Cochran call of the night right now. This is Will from McKees Rocks. How you doing, Will?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking my call, as always.
Mm-hmm.
You guys pretty much covered what I wanted to talk about, but I still want to touch on it if I could. I don't understand the Oscar Marine firing because, like you all touched on it, you know, the pitching staff really wasn't the problem. It's the lack of bats, you know, in our lineup. And the fact that Ben Cherington still has a job really boggles my mind because what has he done in 5 years? You know, I mean, we've had last place finishes, 1 fifth place finish, and you know, how could nothing justify keeping this guy on?
I think it is because Pony. I think Pony was right with the firing of Marine because of the you know, Paul Skeens or someone maybe doesn't like him. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm just going to agree I think you're right. But, what he said there, I forget the point I was making because I'm just getting so frustrated by the Pirates right now. I totally lost it. But I'll tell you what it was. Ben Cherington is owed $5 million over the next 2 years. That is why. And you can't tell me otherwise.
Well, they did fire Neil Huntington and they fired Clint Hurdle with years left on their contract. So it's not something that the ownership there has never done before. What I don't understand about keeping Cherington is, yes, if you had fired him, you would have had to pay him not to work. But the fans, your paying customer, would have been in favor of that and would have said, okay, they're not going to spend $200 million. But at least the organization is telling us that what's happened over the last 6 years is unacceptable. They did not say that. They said this year, the record was not good, but they said, look at all the great things we're doing. Look at our pitchers. Look at our minor league system. Look at our young developing players. Okay, they're trying to convince us that they're much closer than they really are. Richie, there were only 2 teams in baseball this year that went from losing record to the playoffs. The Reds, who only made the playoffs because the Mets choked, and the Blue Jays, who went from 74 wins to 93, and they've got the 7th highest payroll in baseball. So it is not easy to go from 71 wins to playoffs, and that's what Travis Williams kept saying. We're going to make the playoffs next year. It's all about the playoffs. We're close. The record says you're not close at all, and you're actually one of the worst teams in the entire league.
Yeah, no question about it. All right, we got to take a break. Coming back in a couple minutes. All right, welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports coverage. Walsh along with Andrew Fillipponi. Don't forget about our question of the night. You can just scan that QR code in the right-hand corner. Which coach will be fired, leave their school first? Pat Narduzzi, James Franklin. This is from Penn West. Pat Narduzzi, 66%. Of the viewers out there say he's going to be out first.
Well, Pat's got a big game Saturday, and it might not feel like it because it's home against Boston College, but you cannot lose that game. If you lose that game at home, you're not going to get to a bowl this year. You've still got Florida State on the road. You've still got Miami. You've still got Notre Dame. You've still got Georgia Tech. If you lose that game Saturday, Richie, you're not going 6-6. And there's a new athletic director, and I know they owe him a bunch of money. But if they don't make a bowl game after losing 6 in a row last year, man, that would be a horrible look for the Pitt program.
All right, thanks a lot, Pony. I appreciate your time. See you next week, and hopefully we see you guys on KDKA News right now.